everyone. Today I thought, since it's been 2 weeks since we did our deck garden tour, I thought I would give you an update, and I'm going to show you a few ways that you might help to distract slugs in your garden, whether it be your regular garden, your deck garden, your square foot garden, or what have you. And I'm going to show you one recommendation that you might find online that doesn't work, and I'm going to show you why it doesn't work, and I'm going to give you proof that it doesn't work. First thing is I'm always using this. This is just a little water mixed with a few drops of my favorite dish soap. Lot of recommendations for using Dawn dish soap, but I have used a thieves oil based dish soap, and that is a good prevention for both slugs and beetles and leaf gnawers that will eat your leaves and eat holes in your leaves. We have a lot of beetles in our area. We have Japanese beetles, and we have little beetles that look like ladybugs, but they're not ladybugs, and they like to eat through especially leaves on cucumbers, squash, and they also like certain nightshade leaves like eggplant and peppers. So when I do my little garden overview for you guys, you're gonna see some of my plants do have holes in them. The leaves do, but we spray this continually. We've been having a ton of rain here, so when it rains, you have to really be vigilant about spraying, and you have to spray from the bottom, because unless you spray the underside of the leaf, the leaf chewers are going to just go on the bottom and chew through the bottom of the leaf. So make sure you do that. I do have a video on a spray that will help deter pests, but this is really just some dish soap and some water blended together. So this is about a 16-ounce bottle of water and a few drops of dish soap, just enough so that it will stick to the leaf. Using the essential oil based dish soap is a really great way to do that. If you have thieves oil on hand, you can use dish soap, add it to the water, and a couple of drops of your thieves oil, or peppermint oil will also work. Slugs hate mint, so that's just one of my tips. Eggshells. So, you know, if you guys are composting, or maybe you're not, but if you do, save your eggshells out, a handful or two, and top dress your soil with some crushed eggshell. This is going to give it a nice rough texture, and the slugs won't want to crawl over that. Epsom salt, an obvious choice. Slugs and salt just don't mix. This salt, even though this is a magnesium salt and not like a table salt, this still works. Table salt also works, but adding too much salt to the top of your soil is going to be problematic. It's going to cause a lot of issues with your plant feeding improperly, and it's not going to be uptaking your fertilizer as well as it should. This is Diatomaceous Earth. You can purchase this, make sure it's food grade, from your local farm store. This is also great if you have chickens to mix in with their feed. It's also great to put in your pet food. It helps prevent intestinal worms. It's great for you to take. You can put it in a capsule and take it yourself. It's perfectly safe as long as it's food grade. Diatomaceous earth comes from the beds of prehistoric lakes, and it has tiny little particles that are very rough in texture. If you put this under a microscope, you would see a lot of jagged edges. So it's really just broken down shell, bone, and what have you, literally from prehistoric era. So diatomaceous earth is definitely something I always have on hand for my garden. You can sprinkle this with a puff sprayer. You can sprinkle it by hand, but whatever you do, when you use this, if you're going to broadcast it, make sure you're wearing a mask, a respirator mask, and gloves, because this will dry your hands, and if you breathe in too much of this, it can give you lung disease, so just be really careful. So those are my 4 tips for slug control in your garden. And this over here, this might be something that when you do your research online, you see people saying, use coffee grounds to control slugs. Well, we've been saving our coffee grounds to control slugs, but I put coffee grounds because they're a great source of nitrogen. as top dressing your plants, and that's great. But it does not prevent slugs. We had this out on our deck because we use it. We dump our coffee grounds in it every morning so we can save them over to put in the garden on top of the pots. You can see here there are some live slugs in these coffee grounds that have crawled into the can because it had no lid on it. So
at least last night, or
right,
a few days even.
The coffee grounds
not dead.
Are not an effective deterrent for slugs, but they are rough in texture, and they might at some point kill the slug.
I don't seem to mind it.
I have read articles that say that the slugs cannot tolerate the caffeine that is contained naturally in the coffee bean. But as you can see, that is definitely...
These two must be tweaking.
Falsehood. So save your coffee grounds to top dress your plants, but just know that it's not going to help deter the slug. Use the Diatomaceous Earth, the Epsom Salt, the Eggshell, and this dish soap spray in combination. You can actually take all these three things and mix them up together, sprinkle them on the topsoil every couple of weeks. You can spray this spray as often as you need to, especially if it's been raining. You want to make sure that you do it every day that it rains so that your plants are not getting devoured by pests.
I love the rain.
And because we don't like to put a lot of chemical pesticides on our garden. You know, we're sharing our garden with nature, and that's just something that you have to deal with. It may seem discouraging at times, but it's just one of those things that you learn how to deal with. So with that being said, let's go take a walk through, and I'll show you what our garden looks like right now, because it looks a lot bigger than it did 2 weeks ago. We're starting to get a lot of fruit setting, and I'm excited about that. Our tomatoes are doing fabulous. These are the two. This is a cherry tomato of sorts. This is a golden cherry. This over here is the grape tomato. You can see all sorts of clusters of flowers are setting, and we're going to be having tomatoes here before long. And most of these things, tomatoes, peppers, eggplant, squash, from the time you plant them, it's going to take 90 days before they fruit anyway, so patience is the key here. You're not going to have tomatoes next week when you plant a tomato plant. You're going to get a lot of growth if you've done things correctly. Adding your rock phosphate to the hole is always recommended because they will grow and be beautiful and lush and strong, and you're going to get a lot of fruit setting later. You can see that the slugs and the beetles have been eating my squash plants. Now this is the zucchini here. This is the yellow squash here. The zucchini plant seems to get the brunt of the abuse from the pests, but we do come out here and we spray as often as we can, like I said, especially after it has been raining. So we do have some flowers setting in here. I don't know if you can see. Here's a squash blossom, and then this yellow squash is just starting to set some flowers as well down here. So we'll see what we get. If we get what we get, and we're going to be happy. So that's that. If we get one zucchini and one squash, then we'll enjoy it, and you know, that's how it is. Our Cherokee purple tomato is still taking its sweet time, but I know in the end we're going to be really happy that we waited. This is our large red cherry. Like I said, I think that's a small salad tomato. And this is our little, this one's called, I can't remember what this one's called. It's called the Sunshine Sauce. So this is like a paste tomato. So kind of like an Amish paste tomato or aroma. So it doesn't have a lot of juice in it. So we're gonna wait and see what happens with that. That's also setting some fruit. You can see, you'll see all the little flower clusters. We do have a cucumber. I don't know if we can see the cucumber, but we have one cucumber that has grown, and our cucumber plant has gone through some issues, but I think we've regulated that right now. A little extra fertilizer, a little less water, but with the rain that we've gotten, it's really been a challenge. What's this one? I can never remember. This is the chocolate cherry. Cherry tomatoes are notorious for producing a lot, and they'll produce a lot all at one time, and then you won't get any more. So we'll probably be knee deep in cherry tomatoes, whether they're chocolate cherries, regular cherries, grape tomatoes, or yellow cherries. So I guess we'll see what happens. This is that snackable. This is like a little, look at, snack pepper. Look at. This has 3 peppers on it right now. It's kind of hidden in there. I don't know how well you can see that.
Yeah.
You see those?
Yep.
So those are doing well. And then, you know, guys, when these get like this down toward the bottom of the plant, just go ahead, pull them off. You are not going to hurt the plant. In fact, that plant is going to say, thank you. And you can just get rid of them. This is the purple bell pepper. It does have some flowers coming on. Can't really see them because they're still very young. There's a couple there. We'll see what happens. For me right now, this is all about let's see what happens. This here is, this is that bush Goliath. That's a hybrid, and we'll see. That's not setting any fruit yet, but I'm not too distracted, or I'm not too discouraged by that, because we're just gonna let everything do what it's gonna do in its own time. This is that non-hot jalapeno. They're calling it a jalapeno pepper. And it does have a little pepper on it right now. But I'm telling you what, I'm about at my wit's end with these slugs. So I might have to figure something else out. I really don't want to use chemical pesticides because I don't want to feed my family that garbage. But in any case, the banana peppers are starting to fruit. These 2 bell peppers, I may actually have to ditch them, and that may be my fault for not using new soil. Remember, we talked about that. I used some old soil out of my garden. The plants that I used, new, fresh, organic soil, are thriving. The ones that I did not are not doing as well. So that's a lesson. So keep that in mind. Pop for the extra soil. Go ahead and buy you 10 bags of good soil. And just move on, because if you really want good fruit, then you need to use good soil, and the Bible actually teaches us that, right? In a metaphor, I know, but still, it applies to your garden. You can see here, we've got, these are just 2 green bell pepper plants, lots of flowers, getting ready to make some fruit. I bought myself a hibiscus, and I love it, and it's full of blooms. I'm so excited. And then this is that midnight snack tomato. It actually has fruit on it, and lots of flowers. These 2 little tomatoes down here are happy, waiting for them to ripen up. It has a lot of flower bracts on it. And you know what? In about 2 more weeks, when I come back and I show you, I bet we have ripening fruit. I have my herb box, some of my herb boxes I moved over there. I've got green onions, thyme, and oregano, and then my mint plant that I probably had for 10 years that I need to split and put in 2 pots. But that is our deck garden update. Everything is moving along, and I have the same frustrations as everyone else with pests, insects, too much rain, not enough rain, too much sun, not enough sun. You know, this is just part of being a gardener. This is just part of growing your own food. We adapt and we survive, just like the plants do. So that's where we're at right now. So I hope that the tips for the slug control were helpful. If you guys have other tips for slug control that are natural, please leave your suggestions down below in the comment section. I would love to know if you do something different from what I have researched and found to be successful. Maybe you'll help someone else who's reading the comments as well. I hope you enjoyed our little garden tour, and stay tuned, because we'll probably be back in a couple of weeks to show you what it looks like. It looks completely different than it did the last time, and it's going to look completely different the next time that we share. So I hope this was helpful. I hope you learned something. I hope that you take some time to plant something this year, and until next time, I'll see ya.